And it clears at half a second. Good evening, folks. It's 5 a.m. in Tokyo, believe it or not. It's 1 p.m. in San Francisco. It's 4 p.m. in New York. And here in Little Northampton, it's 8 p.m. Good evening, Ian.
Good evening. Hello.
There, everybody.
Really nice day today. Quite sunny for most of the day. Yeah, that's some nice weather.
It's been gloomy. We had a absolutely glorious day yesterday, but it's been miserably gloomy day.
Yeah. Anyway, hello folks. We're here again. It's Thursday night. Nothing on the telly, so you watch me instead. Anyway, what have we got this week? Well, we've actually got Spin the Wheel this week. We're spinning wheels for years. We've done all the hard work putting it together, except putting the dates for the top 10s. So we thought we'd better do the wheels. Busy old week.
Evening, Pulsar. Evening, Martin. Yeah.
Good evening, folks. I haven't put the comments on yet because I was doing other things. Right, let's put the comments in. Hello, folks.
Oh, anyway, I've been able to see
them. 4,922 people have watched the channel. What? It's amazing how many people watch the channel. 20 new subscribers as well. It goes up and onwards. What have you been watching, though? Well, I had a look at the figures this afternoon, and 71 of you thought it was fun to watch a bit of Jefferson Starship. But 84 of you thought, oh, we'll give...
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Dave. Afternoon. Good afternoon from Florida. 84 people thought Weather Report were worth watching. Hi, Jason. But 218 people still like watching Ian and Richard cock it up.
It's always good for a laugh on a Saturday.
Yes, it's a good Saturday thing. Bad covers. Don't forget in two will be not the 39th, but the 40th. We've got a real special one coming up for that. Top short. Well, it was St. Patrick's Day last Sunday, and like I did last year, I put up an Enya short. 444 people like listening to bits of Memories of Trees. So in the last 28 days, a lot's happened in 28 days. I had 16,828 views. So what have you been watching? Well, you'd really like what Richard and I do, because we've got a fourth. There's a reason for this. Top 10 instrumentals of Richard, 184. The bad covers third at 218. But in equal first with 327 is Lou Reed and Mr. David Edmonds. But the top short is Physical Graffiti Part 1. And I actually put it in properly this week. Not what I got last week, that load of old garbage. You remember, it came up with some free loose willy and all sorts. Yeah. Anyway, we're going through the numbers. 310,249. That's incredible. And we've got 1571.
And that's what we're coming up to your third birthday, aren't we?
May.
Yeah. So I mean, you're averaging 100,000 views a year. That's not bad.
Crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, what's happening? Rigsy.
Evening, Jimmy. Evening, Zeb.
It's 4,553. 4,690 for Slade. Quo. Whoa. 83.84.
Yeah, but who's behind Mr. Riggs?
Jethro Tull's making a surge again. He's only how many's behind? About 90.
No, they're only about 19.
19 now. Good grief. Yeah. Anyway, what have I been listening to? Well, for a start, I finished listening to Caravan, Gordon Lightfoot, Blackfoot, The Grateful Dead, Blondie, and Uncle Contobly and all, the Brady Bunch. Finished listening. We're cracking through a bit of Bell and Sebastian. I forgot how good they were, you know.
Oh,
so
Bell and Sebastian, yes.
So chill out music.
Mm-hmm.
Beggars Opera, we're nearly done. We're at 11. We're now into listening to when they had a female singer, and it's pretty groovy.
You've got to that stage.
Oh, yes. What a singer she is. A bit of Marmalade. Listen to one of them. Jade Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I like a bit of that. Circus Devils. Zeb, you do it to me all the time. You didn't have to pull them out of the bag, didn't you? Whoa. These are interesting.
If it's not me, it's Zeb.
Bare Naked Ladies one and a bit of bluesy Joe Nambassa.
Sorry, are you trying to say Joe Bonamassa?
Yeah. Yeah, they are real. I've been listening to them, Zeb. Whoa. So that is what I've been listening to.
All right.
Plus,
Do you want me to do some hatches, matches, and dispatches? Because I think his lordship needs to go.
Yes, I do as well. He's getting impatient at me. Yeah, I'm coming, all right? Truth. Yeah, all right. Stop whinging.
I don't have a face for radio. I prefer not to show my countenance. Anyway, hatches, matches, and dispatches. Who's left? Who's having a birthday? And who's got married? And the talking point is 1984. So dispatches. We've had 13 dispatches since our last show. One of which wasn't announced until after we'd gone off air. And that was, unfortunately, John Blunt, the drummer with the Searchers. His passing was announced on the 13th. The 14th, we lost Lamara Ciconia, Georgian operatic soprano, Byron Janis, an American classical pianist, Jean-Pierre Marty, a French classical pianist and conductor, and Angela McCluskey, Scottish singer with the Wild Colonials, and she's also a songwriter. The 15th saw the departure of Frank Darcel, a French post-punk guitarist with the group Marquis de Sade. The 17th, Matthew Joseph Urango. He's known professionally as Cola Boy. He's an American musician and activist. And Iain and I both agreed we had to keep this little comment in. Apparently, NME compared his sound to, and I quote, a disco ball melting or the after effects of some particularly potent hallucinogenics, unquote. We enjoyed that. Same day, we lost Sandra Crouch, an American gospel singer, and regrettably, very regrettably, the magnificent, the wonderful Steve Harley, famously of Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. The 18th, Khalid, a Bangladeshi pop singer, left us. And on the 19th, so did Greg Lee. He's an American ska and reggae singer with the group Hepcat. And on the 20th, we lost George Darko, a Ghanaian burger highlife singer-songwriter and guitarist, as well as Faramaz Aslani, an Iranian singer, guitarist, and music producer. Birthdays today. We've got 30, and we've got 2 bubbling under also Rand's special mentions. The youngest today is at 34, Mandy Capristo. She's a German dance pop singer. She was in a group, manufactured group Montrose, and after they disbanded, she went solo. 35 today is Rochelle Humes. You should remember the name. She's a pop singer with S Club Juniors and eventually the Saturdays. 44 today is Derek Whibley, a Canadian guitarist and singer with the group Sum 41. 56 is Vincent Courtois, a French jazz cellist. 57 today is Jonas Joker Berggren, a Swedish musician, songwriter, and producer, and he's also the founder of Ace of Base. Also 57 is Maxim. He was formerly known as Maxim of Reality. His real name is Keith Palmer, and he's a Jamaican-British trip-hop MC and vocalist with The Prodigy. 58 today is DJ Premier, also known as Primo. He's a hip-hop producer. 61 today is Sharon June Cher Ross. She was formerly known as Sharon Peterson. She's an American musician. She's actually the bass player of Vixen, but she's been on hiatus from the group since February of 2022. 64 today is Slim Jim Phantom McDonald, American rock drummer with the Stray Cats and Catman. Also 64 is Dominic Miller. Now, last week saw the departure of Carl Wallinger from World Party. This week we've got a birthday with World Party. Dominic. He's an American session and touring guitarist, and he's toured with World Party and King Swamp. But as a session musician, he's recorded with The Pretenders, Phil Collins, Paul Young, and Level 42. And since 1990, he has recorded and toured as a sideman for Sting. Also 64 today is Robert Sweets. And it took a few minutes for Iain to remember who he was. He's an American Christian metal drummer with Striper. And on stage, he faces stage left or stage right, so the audience can see him working the drum kit instead of seeing the drum kit and he's hidden behind it. 65 today is Sarah Jane Morris. She's an English pop, jazz, R&B singer-songwriter, as well as Nobuo Uematsu. He's a Japanese keyboardist, and he's also a video game music composer. And if you've ever played the game series Final Fantasy, he's the guy who did all the music. 66 today is Lynn Mabry, American R&B and rock session and touring vocalist. Sung with P-Funk, Brides of Funkenstein, Sheila E., and believe it or not, Talking Heads. Also 66 is Jonathan Butch Norton. He's an American drummer with the group Eels. 68 today is Guy Chadwick, British pop singer-songwriter with The House of Love. Also 68 is Tihani Laszlo, a Hungarian composer and conductor. 69 is Hakon Graf, a Norwegian jazz keyboard player, composer, arranger, and producer. 73 is Conrad Lozano, an American rock bass player with Los Lobos. And Russell Tompkins Jr. He's an American soul tenor, and he was the lead singer for the Stylistics. 74 today is Elena Firsova, a Russian classical composer. And the magnificent Roger Hodgson, British rock singer-songwriter. Exactly, Supertramp is 74. 77 today is Franco Musida, an Italian prog rock guitarist and singer-songwriter. He sings in a group, or plays in a group, Premiata Forneria Marconi, which is usually abbreviated to PFM. 78 today. And Iain needed a little jug to remember who this person was. Ray Dorset, British rock guitarist, singer-songwriter, composer, and founder of Mungo Jerry. 79 today is Rosemary Stone, American funk and rock vocalist and pianist, who, along with her brothers, formed Sly and the Family Stone. 80 today is Gay Balola, American blues singer and guitarist, teacher and activist. Also 80 is Henrik Kolding Jorgensen, the Danish organist, choirmaster and composer. 81 is Hartmut Henschen, German conductor. 83 is an American record producer, John Boylan. He has produced stuff for Linda Ronstadt. He produced Boston's Boston album. He's also produced REO Speedwagon, the Charlie Daniels Band, Quarter Flash, the Little River Band, to name a few. So he's been added to the producers list. 84 today is Chip Taylor. He was born at James Wesley Voigt, American songwriter and singer, but he's best known for writing two songs, Angel of the Morning and Wild Thing, as made famous by the Trogs. And granddaddy today is at 88, Brian D, British jazz and session pianist and accompanist. Now, I said there were two honourable mentions today. At 66, we have Gary Leonard Albin. Yes, him, actor. British Oscar and BAFTA award-winning actor. Now, Iain and I couldn't believe this. He is one of the most bankable film stars you can get. His films to date have grossed over 11 billion with a B dollars. That's some going. And at 78 is Timothy Leonard Dalton Leggett. We know him as Timothy Dalton, Welsh actor, best known for The Living Daylights and Licence to Kill. So there's your patches. Matches through the years. In 1891, there was a famous feud in America, in West Virginia, between the Hatfields and the McCoys. And in 1891, a Hatfield married a McCoy, which ended the feud. The feud had started over an accusation of pig stealing, and it lasted 20 years. Move forward a few years, 1962. British actor Rex Harrison. He was an Oscar winner as well. He married actress and she was his third wife, Rachel Roberts. They got married in Genoa in Italy. Very nice. And in 2009, die-hard Mr. Bruce Willis, he married his third wife, model and actress Emma Hemming, and they got married in the Turks and Caicos Islands. It's nice for some. So those are your notable marriages. 1984 is our year. So in January, Martina Navratilova, she had a 54-match winning streak broken when she got beaten by Hannah Mandlikova at a tournament in Oakland. After that, Navratilova went on to win the next 74 matches and set a new record. February of 84, the Winter Olympics started, the 14th Winter Olympics to be precise. And on the 14th, Torval and Dean did their dance routine to Ravel's Bolero and scored 9 perfect scores. 9 sixes. March saw the start of a year-long coal miner strike in the UK. Devastating for the industry, for the population, and for politics. Oh dear. April, Advance Australia Fair was proclaimed as Australia's national anthem, and they decided that the national colours were going to be green and gold. May, the Thames barrier to stop London being flooded was officially completed. And in the same month, the Soviet Union announced that they would not be participating in the Los Angeles Olympics. And this was in retaliation for the US boycotting the 1980 Moscow Olympics.
I'm not playing because you're not playing.
Yeah. You wouldn't play with my ball. I'm not going to play with your ball. Anyway, oh God, we are childlike, aren't we? June saw video game Tetris. That little thing with falling blocks. It's an annoying game, but it has been going since 1984. You think about it. That game's 40 years old and it's still making money. They also celebrated Donald Duck's 50th birthday in Disneyland, and Glastonbury was on. Now, Iain doesn't know. I didn't mention this one to Iain earlier. As usual, Glastonbury was on. So, who headlined? Well, believe it or not, the weather report,
Wow.
the Smiths,
Yo.
and Black Uhuru. Those were the three headliners. The other performers included Ian Jury, Joan Paez, The Waterboys, Fela Kuti, General Public, Dr. John, Fairport Convention, Christy Moore, Brass Construction, The Staple
God.
Singers, Billy Bragg, and Amazulu. And there's a hell of a
Next, the
lineup.
ones there. That'd have been worth going to.
Yeah. July. Now, I saw this and I thought I've got to include this. I've had to reword from the way it was laid out. But it's a lady by the name of Lynn Ripplemeyer. She was actually the first flight attendant who became an airline pilot. She was also part of the first all-female crew on an aircraft, commercial aircraft. She was also the first woman to fly the Boeing 747. And in July of 1984, she became the first woman to captain a 747 on a transoceanic flight whenever she flew across the Atlantic. Some record that, breaking the barriers. In August, well, the Olympics were on. Lots of people won lots of medals, Carl Lewis, etc. But for the Brits, we had a 1-2 in 1500 metres. Seb Coe edged Steve Cram to become the only man who has successfully defended the Olympic 1500 metre title. That's some going. September saw the premiere on CBS of Murder, She Wrote, which stars Angela Lansbury. And if you believe the statistics, Cabot Cove, where the series is set, is apparently the deadliest place to live. If you think about it, there's on average 2 murders an episode and 5 episodes a week. It's been gone a long time. November. Wes Craven's horror film A Nightmare on Elm Street got its premiere in the US. But in the UK, same month, George C. Scott premiered in A Christmas Carol as Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
Oh, not brilliant. Anyway, December saw the appointment of Ted Hughes as Poet Laureate by Her Late Majesty the Queen. And sometime between Christmas and New Year, Rick Allen lost his arm in a car crash.
Eve. It was New Year's Eve. Yeah, I went and checked.
Oh, good, thank you. So there you go, New Year's Eve. Rick Allen lost his arm in a car crash. So there's bits and bobs from 1984. Hatches, Matches, Dispatches. I can unclose that tab and minimize that. Right, let's see who's arrived in. Good evening, Nick. Good evening, Elliot. Good evening, Mike. And Stevie's in.
I didn't see Mike. Hi, Mike. I didn't realise you was in, mate.
Yeah, and Simon and anybody else. I'd be scrolling all the way back to the top if I wasn't careful. Do we want to mention now the blurb for one of the Battle Royale?
No, we'll do what's on next. Battle Royale, spinner wheels, and go from there.
Okay. So
we don't script this, you
see. What's on next week is full screen. Off you go.
Okay, well, it's that part of the stream where we find out what I'll be showing next week. So here we go. Big roll drum. And we're going to start off with the wonderful Syd Barrett and the 2 studio albums that he had help from every member of Pink Floyd on at some stage, which was very nice. There are 2 really good albums. And we've got, this is the last classic album for a little while. You'll find out what's taking its place next week. But this is the number 1 album on Mojo's list of albums done on Motown label. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Is it the best one? Who knows? You'll find out on Monday. Tuesday, we're doing some more Michael Schenker. This is a little band he put together. And it's basically ex-members of Scorpions, keyboard players from MSG, and Doogie White, and various other people. They're called the Temple of Rock. They are brilliant. And sorry, it says cop shows on there, but I forgot. I didn't change it. I've been mucking about. It should say Stiff Little Fingers, because they're not cops. That is one of Ireland's best punk bands. I do apologise for that. I made a bit of a ooby doodle cock up there, but it is actually Stiff Little Fingers, as you can see there. Let's move on. Okay, Ladies' Day has got a different day because we're going to look at the albums of the one and only Miss Carole King. And boy, was that hard, because I don't think there's never been one bad Carole King album, but that's just a matter of opinion, of course. Yeah, but there are some great albums there.
Oh, there are.
Thursday, we haven't got a battle royale because today was the second round. So
Okay,
Dave and I will be doing a review, and
we'll be doing bullshit. Come on, be honest.
Yeah, and we'll tell you how we would have voted in round 2 as well. We've got a video in the camera's view, and we're going to look at the Simon and Garfunkel concert in Central Park. Bit controversial for me, but you'll find out why next Thursday. Friday, it's all about sort of alternative rock. We're going to look at the 2 live albums done by the very underrated Elbow, which are a great band. And then tomorrow, Elbow have got a new album coming out, Audio Vertigo. Looking forward to that. So that's what we'll be looking at next week. And then Saturday of next week, we've got video number 39 that Richard and I have done. And we're going to do collaboration songs of artists, not Simon and Garfunkel and people like that, but the odd ones you get. For example, Queen and David Bowie. And then also on Saturday, Richard McCook will be drawing some. I'm not going to say what I wanted to say because it doesn't sound very polite. But they
spherical objects.
Yeah, we'll be putting spherical objects out of his little bagel box, and for the quarter-final draw. Well, that was cocked up big time, wasn't it? Never mind. Let's get rid of that. That rubbish now. Stop sharing. Anyway, Dave, just tell them about the result of last week as I go and bury my head after making what a helmet I am this week. Pay more attention what you're doing.
Yeah, well, before you do that, where is it?
Get rid of that.
Zeb asked for Dave Brock, Robert Calvert, and Hawk Lords. Well, Dave Brock and Robert Calvert have already been requested. They're already on the list. Hawk Lords.
I think I did them within the Hawk Wind, but Dave Brock is actually coming up in May. So
Hawk Lords, cross that off the list. No, because there were 2 iterations of Hawk Lords. There was 78, 79, and then they reformed in the 2000s. Who said what?
I'm just so about Nick saying, what about Simon and Garfunkel in Wicksteed Park? That would be fantastic. And then Jimmy Barnes saying that Jason once filmed an entire video with his nice one, Jason.
Hey, let it all hang out. Anyway, last week's Battle Royale. Yes, and Nektar. In the live stream, Yes got 20 votes, Nektar got 8. In the community, Nektar got 7, but Yes got 37. Overall, 57 votes to 15. Yes are the winners. And I have a sneaking suspicion we know who's going to win this week. Because I've had a quick look at the live stream. And out of 34, oh, hang on, I need to switch this. Oops, forgot to do something. And you get the ubiquitous ad, which is a pain in the neck. Skip that. Here we go. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
coming up in a moment, Stevie. We're going to do our. We've got to do a little draw.
yeah. Quadrophenia is winning.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So come back to that, and we need to share that one. So you should be able to see the wheel.
The wheel of fortune.
Yeah. So we want 3 today, don't we?
Yes. This is for the US top 10 on the 4th of April of whatever year you swap it on.
Ooh.
1975. That's a good year. I like that one. This is for UK, 8th of April. We've had lots of 60s lately, and we're still going to...
Hey! Brilliant year. Absolutely.
Yes, okay, it's your birth year.
Yeah.
Okay. 2nd of May, blimey. We're doing it. 2nd of May, US top 10 will be from the year 1950.
We are going back
in 1959 before. Yes, there was.
Yeah,
so we're going to. It's a bit of a nostalgic one there. Lots of 50s.
Yeah.
But that's always a good fun. I enjoy them.
Yes.
Yes, we know it. We say it sounds built like farts. Why? I think Stevie wants to come up and plug his. He's hanging on. Yeah.
No, he's going. Hang on. he's backing off now.
Well, while he's backing off, we're going to have his debut on my live stream, all the way from America. Good evening, William. Welcome.
Greetings, William. Greetings, Ian.
Greetings. Welcome to the stream.
You know, thank you for having me as a guest. I am truly honored as an honorary UK VC member. I did have to jump in here and give my 2 cents here. I'm quite disappointed with this poll. Not a lot of you are aware that I'm a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan, and I think The Who is highly overrated. And you actually just made me get out all of my BOC records. So for the 29% who voted for BOC, I thank you. Half of them were my troll accounts, but that's okay. Sometimes you have to, do what you got to do. You got to throw one in there for your boys, BOC. And I'm not talking about just cowbell. I got everything here. Cultosaurus erectus right here. I have Imaginos in the other room. That's super rare, but we got Club Ninja.
I saw them on that tour.
I'm sorry?
I saw them on that tour.
Yeah, they're before my time, so I never got to see them. So I really have I have to rely on my fellow VCers to sort of educate me on Blue Oyster Cult as well. But Mirrors here. I have 2 copies of this. I have 2 copies of a lot of these, but white label promo of Spectres featuring Godzilla. And then, of course, I had, shout out to the UK VC. This is a Europe press of Agents of Fortune, Blue Oyster Cult. So when I want more cowbell, it's good to go with a nice German pressed, LP. But then, of course, Tyranny and Mutations. And then last but certainly not least, and this is not the only my last BOC record that I have, but Secret Treaties. So 29%. We got to do a little bit better, VC. In fact, I might have a whole tribute video to Blue Oyster Cult based on this stream alone. So There you
Right,
go.
there we go. Thank you very much. That's that, because Mick can't come up here and do it because he's doing other things. So I'll think that I'll let Mick know that you showed the faith for BOC.
You know, I just had to throw one in there for him. You know, I don't feel like I really don't feel like Blue Oyster Cult gets enough love in the VC. I mean, we do hear a lot about, like, you know, Led Zeppelin and the Who, but I don't know what you guys think, Steve.
So here is the man with quadrophenia,
the man of the moment. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Well, William, if you want to take it away to kind of defend, because we're concentrating on covers today, if you want to do the Misha Smith 262, what's the name? You can go.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. It goes just a slip of tongue. Thank you for pointing it out, though. Twog.
So we criticize. I'm sorry.
You can represent the cover and tell us how great the cover is, and you know, because we I don't know. Well, Iain, I mean, what today is just a focus on the covers and the artwork, isn't it?
Yeah. It is
Are you criticizing that I only showed the cover?
No. I mean, tell us how wonderful the cover is. You know.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really think I even commented on the cover either. I was just kind of going through I just felt like maybe it was necessary. BOC wasn't getting enough love here in the VC, so maybe it was time to start showing them the love.
No, but now you have to say it's your favorite cover now.
Well, if I had to go with my favorite cover, I mean, this is pretty rad. Tyranny and Mutations.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
I mean, this is kind of hypnotizing, you know.
Yes.
Very much. Like
we're doing the
Secret Treatise. So on the behalf of Mick, talk about the artwork on Secret Treatise on the behalf of Mick.
Tell us how you feel about it.
The artwork, you know, I mean, I don't, like I said, I might need one of you to educate me on who did the artwork, because I'm a young little whippersnapper of the vinyl community. But I'm sorry.
Ron Lesser. He was responsible for more movie artwork. He did Papillon. He did the artwork for the Paint Your Wagon posters. You know, the I was born. He did all the artwork for that.
If you look at Ian's video about it, the guy looks like he's just stepped out of The Sopranos.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Old Ron Lesser.
Oh yeah, no,
it's a great cover. It is a great cover.
It is a good cover.
Yes.
Nowhere near as good as the artwork of Quadrophenia, but that's just my point of view.
So is that why you put them up against each other, because of the artwork?
No, people have voted each week sort of which album is better. So the first, this is the second round. So the first round was like which is the better album, describe the album. So now we're having a different topic for this round, which is the art, focusing on the artwork. And but I know it is a favorite with Blue Oyster Cult fans. You know, a lot of them say that's the best LP and the best cover. You know.
Well, if I had to give my answer to either, I'd probably go Blue Oyster Cult, both for album content and cover, because you know, the Beatles don't need any more fans, the Who doesn't need any more fans, but I think we need some better representation of BOC here in the VC.
Okay, well done. That's as good as we're gonna get.
Okay, so I'm gonna match Stevie Big. So I'm hoping you can find a bit more than what I did, because there's not much on the Graham Hughes, because there's about 50 pictures and I don't know what. So it's over to the man who knows.
Okay, so I've always thought it's you know, basically all Ethan Russell, but of course Graham Hughes did the front cover, but only the front cover. And just to tidy up a couple of things, you know, it wasn't as sort of described as some huge conflict or anything like that, because Graham Hughes is a sort of friend to the Who, so he's also. I don't know if you saw the Ian's video, but I don't think you mentioned this, Iain, because he did this cover for them. He also did Pete Townshend's Who Came First. He also is credited for the cover and concept, would you believe, of It's Hard, the Who. So you know, the concept behind it, but they do both share, both Graham Hughes and Ethan Russell, the title to another LP, which was The Kids Are All Right. Now, this was done by somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but they are credited both with their photos, because inside this there's the famous booklet of the documentary. So they both have a credit on that one as well. So if we get to it, I mean, because I've always thought it's Ethan Russell. I know he didn't do the front cover, but the reason, I mean, also I should say Graham Hughes did all of, I think I'm right in saying he did all of Roger Daltrey's LPs, because he did Rider Rock Horse, Under a Raging Moon, and Daltrey as well. And he also did Odds and Sods, but strangely I still don't have a copy of that. So how the story goes is, for the cover, Ethan Russell had this concept of showing Jimmy. It was about showing Jimmy, and he did a 5x4 shot. What I mean that is like 5x4 negative. So it's about that. The negative is about that size of each of the faces, and he made an amalgamated face of the band to sort of represent the split personality, but Jimmy. But he didn't. He just wanted a face, and he didn't want it to look like it was four faces amalgamated, like a new face, and that was the face of Jimmy embodied in the Who. But when they had their meeting about it, it did look like a new face, but of course nobody knew who it was, and they weren't keen, and Pete wasn't keen, so he kind of recognised he made a mistake, and so that's when Graham Hughes takes up the gauntlet. And he takes the idea of the 5x4 pictures. So he is the one. These are actually from 5x4 negatives, which is quite strange. So he does this with an obvious backdrop. This isn't Chad in the picture. So you've got the backdrop, you've got the smoke, and you've got the title going all the way around. So that's the story about that. So Graham Hughes wanted the band reflected in the mirrors, and he sort of won the argument there. So in I've got this cover because I think this is one of my ones where the booklet will come out. So in a 2019 interview, I made a couple of notes. Pete sort of said that his Battersea Power Station was his favourite. So if we go through to the booklet, so you've got the inner there, and then the next one, I can actually take it out. The next one is the Battersea Power Station.
I think that would have made a better cover. Personally.
I think personally, yes, it would have made a better cover, but you do have a problem here that you've got all the perspective sort of going into the middle, and it focuses on the scooters, and then you've only really got at the bottom that space for the title, or at the top you've got a problem because you're going over the Battersea Power Station. I'm not sure you could have gone down the sides on either side with the Quadrophenia. And it did annoy me today because I was thinking, well, what typeface is it? And it's actually a typeface called Old Face Open, which is a decorative form of Baskerville, which was hand cut by Isaac Moore in 1788, if you were interested. And then it was revived by Stevenson Blake in 1928. So only 150 years for the typeface to come. But as you can see there, you know, the tight, it's very recognizable, but the typeface doesn't come through very much, and it comes through much more on the back. So I think for that, yes, it would have made, but you'd had to have it sort of white. I think you'd have had to have it white on the bottom, and then when it's in the racks, of course, it wouldn't come through so much. So I'm going to surprise you, Iain, because I think, I think that would have been my choice for the cover. And why do I say that? Because what they were trying to do, and from Pete's perspective, it was, for his perspective, it was about focusing on their roots, and that he had Jimmy as a central character where people could identify with it, and the members of the Who could identify. So I've got a quote here. It's not that we want you to be like us, meaning the Who. We want to be like you. So we want to focus on the roots. Whereas Roger's perspective, when they were having this discussion, it's really about Jimmy, who wants to be like everybody else, and he wanted the Four Faces particularly because he was thinking more in the mode of the Tommy cover, where the Who are coming through the matrix, the world matrix there. So then you've got Ethan Russell. I think the important thing anyway isn't really the cover, it is the artwork. And if we just take a minute to go through the artwork, you've got shut up, Michael. I can hear in the background.
It's
So
not the
you've got-
Supreme Court, Stephen.
We've got to
got
put
the,
a time limit.
You've got the yeah, but we've got to appreciate this artwork, I think, because what he's trying to do here, he's trying to recreate the world. He's trying to show the world of Jimmy. So in his parents and the 70s wallpaper, you know, even a photo of a breakfast and him walking lonely there. Then he's got his friends, and significant bit about this picture, if you go to the documentary on my channel page, I put a link to where the illustration chapter bit starts about 12 minutes in, and this girl Maxine and another one, they're in there with locals, and this is Chad who had to go to court because he stole a bus. So there they are at the cafe bar, which were popular during the time, and he gets the job of a dustman. And there he is in the rubbish heap. So this, if you can just see that, that's actually Kodak. I think it was called T-Max, which is the film that he was using. So Kodak T-Max. So there they're causing trouble and they're smashing up the car. And in the following shot, you've got Maxine and her friends turning the car over. Then you've got them with the Who, and I think the guy is supposed to be Roger. I don't know if that is Roger. And this is a very interesting shot because this is what's focused in on the directory. You've got Jimmy focusing on the who are now sort of, Jimmy is the mod from the 60s, but he's actually focusing on what is essentially now a sort of more of a rock group, the Who as they are. So it's actually traveling through time. So that for me is a central picture of sort of the identity of we want to be like you, like the recognizing where we've come from. That's where we've come from, and this is where we are now. So it's kind of trying to tell a large part of the story and the aim of the Who trying to be like the identity of Jim. I better not show this one too much, but that's Jimmy's world where he smashes his scooter. So then he's on the train, the 515, which is a famous track. This is also something of the time. This is supposed to represent.
I love that picture.
I know you said in your video. So, and this is one of the reasons why it's in black and white and is grainy, because who knows if that was bright yellow or something. But notice there for our American friends, the jellied eels. So that was used to be a very common thing in fish and chip shops. And Pete had his favourite, the interview in the jellied eel pie and jellied eels and pie and mash shop. So there's Jimmy on the Brighton Pier. So there's the bellboy scene where he realizes the ace face is just a bellboy at the Brighton. So there's him sleeping rough underneath the pier. And this is in the, if you go in the first inside page notes, the story outlaid in writing with Jimmy is all there about his sort of identity crisis, schizophrenia. So there he's still afloat, and we're left guessing if Jimmy has drowned or not for the track Drowned. This also, I think, would have made a good cover with sort of quadrophenia in that typeface at the top. I personally think that tells a lot of the story, and also, you know, that as well. So that's on the. That could have been on just as easily on the back as the scooter there. So there we are. So there's the artwork. Just to finish off, because I was researching Ethan Russell, and he said he shot it in 1000 ASA film, but it was actually, I think, Tri-X. That's not T-Max, Tri-X, which was a famous Kodak 400-meter film. But he was setting it at 1000 ASA or 1000 ISO. So what he's doing, he's underexposing the film and then overdeveloping it, which, as somebody that knows a little bit about that, because I used to work in a camera shop, what you get is a very grainy effect. So he was very influenced by the work of, I think Michael will know, Bill Brandt. Yeah, Bill Brandt was sort of black and white social documentary photographer, 50s and 60s. And you get lots of working class people, street corners, cobbled streets. I think you get miners, and there's a famous shot of a miner sat there with his face still black, eating his tea. So if you've got like Kodak Tri-X at 1000 ASA and you're pushing it, you're getting a very grainy result. And so you end up with this sort of very grainy, very misty black and white effect. But it's quite risky, and it's all on Nikon cameras. And Tri-X is, if my memory serves me correct, it's a black and white film, but it's still what's called panchromatic, so it's sensitive to all the color ranges, although the colors are not all even. I think reds are a bit more black and blues are not so dark. But it makes for a very sort of contrasty. So what you get in the photos is contrasty photos and artwork, but also very grainy because he's pushed the T-Max to 1000 ASA. So there we go. That's Quadrophenia. So probably, I mean, it's the greatest album of all time, the greatest album that's ever been recorded, and it's probably the greatest artwork as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, that wasn't too long.
No, that wasn't too bad. Anyway, before I say hello, gang.
So vote for Quadrophenia. Thank you. But just to say,
have you been watching the screen, Stevie?
No. Why? What's happened?
Oh dear. Currently, you're losing.
Oh right. Well, we'll have to do something about that.
64-44.
Okay.
Blue Oyster Cult have had a massive surge.
While I've been doing that, so sorry about that.
Well, that's thanks to William coming up.
Well, there you are. We've got to make it as equal standing.
Yes.
Boswell,
I'm going to show some films of '84 first, and I brought loads of 12 inches, so I'm going to show them as well at the same time. So, second of Indiana Jones films come out. Not my favourite, but Temple of Doom. Not too bad. Another great film that came out, and I love this, The Bounty, with Anthony Hopkins. Vangelis does a great soundtrack on that. I do like that. Great film with Dudley Moore and Eddie Murphy, Best Defense. Absolutely killer.
It was one of the best comedy films that year. That was brilliant.
Yeah. That came out as well. Police Academy, where we first got introduced to Hightower and Tackleberry and Jonesy. On a serious
American high culture of interest to the British.
One of the best films ever, and this film reduced me to tears at the end. That final scene, imagine all the blokes in the house were crying. It was the thing. But the best film of 1984 was that one. Yay! The brilliant Spinal Tap. But I must have started work in '84, so I was buying 12-inch singles galore. So I'll quickly go through these because I've got loads. I brought a Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it. Bit of Art of Noise.
All right, hang on a tick. Let's keep politics out of the chat, please. Okay, off you go.
Of course, I brought that, like every other soldier. Well, one of my favourite bands came back. I brought the 12-inch of this because it's got an interview with the band on. Remember that one, folks?
Oh, crikey.
Early the Elephant by the Toy Dolls. Mike's grinning, he remembers it.
I can't believe you pulled that out. Oh, God.
Then we had a little thing by the Sweet, a little disco-y thing, which was pretty good. It was good for doing discos. Van Halen's Panama.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop buying 12-inch singles. A couple of Jean-Michel Jarre.
Ooh.
I went
Oh,
mental.
Zulu, yeah.
I want to know what love is, foreigner.
Oh, that was off 4, wasn't it?
No, it's off Argent Provocateur or something like that.
Oh, right.
The
Yeah.
wonderful Lorna Branigan and Self-Control.
Who?
Laura
Laura
Branigan.
Branigan reading.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the 80s without me showing this, would it? There you go. Lovely.
You,
Oh,
we
no,
knew
no.
that was going to come up. We knew that was going to come
But
up.
I'm going to do a Nick and Steve. I've even got the picture disc of Assassin. And then I brought 3 Mike Oldfields, 4 even. Crime of Passion because it wasn't on an album.
Yes.
2 France because it's got other stuff on that's not on the album.
Mhm.
Tricks of the Light because I just saw it. And they're tuned from Killing Fields because I just saw it.
Mhm. Thing
So I
is,
went mental
of,
in 1984 with that song. I have still got some albums to show, but I'm not going to show you them yet because I
of
know
those
my
of those
wonderful
4,
guest.
of those 4, I specifically asked whenever I was buying my cassettes, I specifically asked for 2 France to be put on.
Anyway, so yeah, so not. I went a bit mad, didn't I? But then again, I just started work.
Yeah. I've got money, let's spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. More money than sense here, I think.
Yeah, but the thing was, most of my mates were on YTS,
Right.
25 quid a week. I was working for
I
the
remember
Channel
that.
Council, and I was on £60 a week.
Wow,
Fish and
that's
chips.
a
every
lot
night.
of cash back then.
Yeah.
It was
It was.
60 quid a week.
Yeah.
So I had loads to, yeah. I mean, that's just only half of what I brought in.
Oh, God.
I'll quickly get them. Anyway, how are we all anyway?
Are there, just can I get in, is there allegations going on already of
I'm
vote
okay.
rigging?
I think I might be getting COVID, actually, but
Can you hear us at all?
hello.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I hope there's not any vote rigging going on there.
As far as I know, there's no rigging. I'm not doing anything.
No.
False
I think
accusations.
it may be what one person has put his hand up and said, yes, I've got this many accounts and has voted for BOC.
This
Well, I
is,
mean-
this is like Biden raising the dead to vote, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think we need to storm the White House, folks.
Yes, stop
Congress.
the beaches. Anyway, who would like to show some 1984 records first tonight?
Well, I've just been with my heroic defence of Quarter Finalist.
Yeah.
So do we go left or right?
Do we swing left or do we swing to the right?
Are you all right, Michael? You're looking a bit.
nobody's-
I'm fine. I'm
Smiling
fine.
for the camera.
No.
Mike,
I'm in-
Mike
I'm in-
got the pointing in first.
What's that?
So Mike
Right.
Final got the pointy finger in first.
Yes,
So-
sir. There you go. You're on.
Ohio.
Hey, I win.
High definition.
Oh.
Okay.
Their second album,
I knew you'd
ABC,
have that.
Beauty Stab. Now, I got a lot of thoughts about this record. First thing is, the title Beauty Stab is an instrumental, not a vocal track. Did you know that? Now, they used a fellow named Keith Breeden to do the cover. Look at that cover. It's kind of like a dime store painting, don't you think? But he's a famous painter, famous British painter, Royal Academy painter, portraitist, and also he had a graphic design company. And Breeden Design did a lot of jacket covers for a lot of famous punk bands later on. But he did this bullfighting scene for ABC. It's really weird. And the back of it is kind of like this just impasto. It's really kind of like, this painting is kind of like something when your parents went on vacation in Madrid and they brought back a painting and hung it in the living room. That's what this painting looks like. It's very odd.
You don't know
So-
how close you are, Michael. That's
To
a
what?
that's a famous poster. So many people have that poster, but without
Really?
ABC, the star, and just the bullfighter and the bull. It's a well-known poster.
Yeah. Well, to
Well, there
this
you are.
American's eyes, I find it kind of odd. Only because they chose the instrumental to be the title of the record. And they chose this painting to go with Beauty Stab. I find it odd. The winning tracks on this record is That Was Then, But This Is Now, Power of Persuasion, By Default, By Design, Unzip, and SOS. It's a great record. And mine is a Japanese pressing. So it comes with a photo of the lads. And this was a rock record, right? Heavy on guitars, very different than their first record. There is orchestrations on this record, but it's a heavy guitar record, and it was meant to be. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I was jabbing at the painting, but don't get me wrong. But I do find it to be an odd cover. So my next record is this. It's a compilation. Every Man Has a Woman. And this was in celebration of Yoko Ono's 50th birthday. And it was John Lennon was working on this record up until the time he was murdered. So he never took part in the completion of this record. It has two tracks by Harry Nilsson. And one of them is called Loneliness. You ever see the video, Loneliness? Anybody? So he plays himself in the video. And I guess he's living in LA and he's wealthy. And the video is about his wife and his kids walking out on him. And he drives up to an empty house in a Mercedes, goes to the house, and the video is full of memories. And actually, Timothy Leary has a cameo in the video. But it's got excuse me. It's got a real pulsating bass. It's almost a disco sound. And his vocals are just incredible. Harry Nilsson's Loneliness. It also has Dream Love. It has Roberta Flack does a couple of songs on this. Roseanne Cash, Trio. Elvis Costello in the Attractions doing Walking on Thin Ice is to die for. This is a great record. Really, really good. I mean, I don't have any Yoko Ono records, but this is a great one. I own it. I love it. Next up, the Waterboys, Pagan Place.
Oh, good.
And this is an interesting record. This record has got engineers, 6 engineers credited on this record. Kind of like, you know what a camel is? Camel is a horse designed by committee. And it's kind of like there are some the sound on this record is kind of there's not a lot of air in the sound of this record. It's great. All the tracks are great. But somehow it fails a little bit in the recording. I wonder if it's ever been remastered. But it's a great record. Church Not Made with Hands and A Pagan Place. The Big Music. Every track is good. It's a great record. It's my favorite. I love this better than This Is the Sea. And it's got a sound to it in '84 that is reminiscent, I don't know why, of Romeo Void. I listened to both records this week, and this has got a very similar texture and sound to Pagan Place. And this is their third record and their last record. Romeo Void never went on tour with this record because they were on stage about to go on at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, and Clive Davis of Columbia Records was brought in to see who was Romeo Void, who was this great band from San Francisco. And their lead singer, Deborah Isle, was overweight, was heavy set. And the band went on stage, looked out, saw Clive Davis, and a few seconds later, Clive Davis left the building because evidently she wasn't as big as his protege, Whitney Houston. He had no interest in promoting the band. Columbia pulled all their funding, and I don't even think they went on tour for this record. So it's a shame. It's really a shame. They're a great band, but they lost everything based on Clive Davis seemingly rejecting them. And I'd say their second of this record are their best, and it's punk new wave music. I don't know how else to describe it. And Romeo Void. And in 1984, I was not a very rich man. I was kind of struggling, didn't have a lot of money, had no disposable income. So that's going to conclude my collection for 1984. 1985, I'm kind of in the green. You can see a lot more records, but that's all I got. Thank you.
Well, it's still a very interesting collection, Michael. You always bring some culture.
Yeah, you always surprise us.
Yeah. Culture.
A bit of culture.
Yeah, with a capital K.
Capital K, exactly.
Yeah,
Anyway,
culture.
Being said, question 1984, Mike, the punk was on a new wave had gone. It was all smoothies stuff, wasn't it, by then?
Not all of it. I mean, I'm going to show you some stuff that you probably wouldn't expect me to show, and then I'm going to show you some stuff that you probably would expect me to show.
Right, here we go.
Well, we expected Michael to be boring, and he was. So.
Oh,
there was no Todd though, was there?
No, Todd had no production.
Relief.
And I for one, I'm desperately disappointed, Michael.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next week, I promise. I will please you.
Yeah. I think
Michael will pleasure
we should
you
have a
next
Todd
week.
special, shouldn't we? Right. Anyway, here we go. Right. Nancy Griffith, how about that? What's in a very blue moon?
That's a good. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
From Texas, sadly died in 2021, I think. She wasn't that old, probably. I think she's only about 60 years old. But I kind of had a thing about Nancy Griffith around this sort of time, and I've got absolutely loads of her albums. But I mean, on here, I mean, I think the best track on here is the final track, which is "Spin on a Red Brick Floor," which is actually about a sort of pub cum sort of free for all venue down in, or I can't remember, somewhere in Texas anyway. So that's Nancy Griffiths. Next one. I was in Tesco's this morning doing the shopping, and they were playing this. Sade.
Oh, crikey.
Your Love is King. So, Sade, both the name of the singer and the name of the band. And, of course, you'll all know that, she was also a model.
Mm-hmm.
So, there it is, Your Love is King. And
was that Tesco radio or the local radio station?
Sorry?
Was that Tesco radio or the local radio station?
I don't know. It was just playing in the background while I was
That's a nice
I was buying the shopping for the week.
Oh,
but
Diamond Life.
there you go. And this is the album from which it's taken as the band. So that's that. And then a bit of reggae. So this is Dr. Pablo and the Dub Syndicate, and this is a fairly recent sort of reissue, North of the River Thames, and the sort of
nice looking cover.
The most remarkable track on here is really a dub sort of reggae version of the Doctor Who theme, which is
that's why I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. It's probably the only the only Dub Syndicate song that sort of most people would know. But first that, and then the great Sly and Robbie, Black Uhuru,
who had been at Glastonbury.
Yeah,
They've been
I
one of the
mean,
acts at Glastonbury.
Sly and Robbie turn up, on all sorts of reggae and dub sort of albums over the years. And then, as you say, we've got Michael Rose on the vocals here, and then Ducky Simpson and Pin the Jones doing the harmonies. So, I mean, this is a really good album. I think Red is probably their best album, but you've got, the opening track, What Is Life, absolutely brilliant. And then Botanical Roots, which actually opened side 2, is another one. And I think Botanical Roots was a single, but I can't be absolutely sure. So that's the stuff that you might not have expected me to show. And here's something that you probably did.
Oh, great.
Oh, to be sure.
I prefer this to Rum Sodomy and Lash, which of course was their real sort of breakout album, wasn't it? The follow-up to this. Yeah, Red Roses for me. And there they are, sort of.
I like that cowboy. It looks totally out of place, doesn't it?
It's just brilliant. It's sending out some sort of message, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a great cover. Yeah. So what's on here? Yeah, Transmetropolitan, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is the Pogues at best. Boys from County Hell. Dark Streets of London, Streams of Whiskey, and then Down in the Ground Where the Dead Men Go. It's a brilliant album. Great sort of Irish sort of folk punk. It's brilliant. And the next one, I wouldn't have been able to show you this had it not been for my friend Andy Gladwin, and it's the Three Johns. And I mentioned a few weeks ago that Andy gave me this album while we were seeing another band, punk band, John from London. But the Three Johns were a Leeds band, and they're called the Three Johns because the members of the band are all called John. So you've got John Langford, who was actually guitar player with the Mekons. You've got John Hyatt, and you've got Philip Brennan. And Philip Brennan had to change his name to John Brennan in order to be in the band. So there you go. This is a great punk album. I really love it, and I'm eternally grateful to you, Andy. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, when sorry to interrupt, but when we was up in Leeds, you showed me that mural in the market. That's brilliant. That's just Leeds culture. That
it's good, isn't it? It's really good with the bat swings. Yeah. And now a bit of Elvis Costello. Goodbye Cruel World. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, not their best album, I'd say, but I mean, what have you got on here? The Only Flame, Worth of Sling, it's good. The Great Unknown, that's a good track. But I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad album at all, but not Costello's best. And then I couldn't be bothered to sort of like dig through all my singles. It's quite difficult to find, singles from the right year. But I'll just show a couple of Banshees, as I always do, don't I? So there you go. That's Dazzle, and that's the opening track from Hyena, and the B side of that is I Promise.
It's lovely.
Yeah, the covers of Banshee singles are just brilliant, aren't they? And this is Swimming Horses, which is the final track on side 1 of Hyena.
Have you got the 12-inch?
And the B side is Let Go. And just in case, there we are. There's the album itself, Hyena.
I knew you'd tease me with that.
Yeah, it's a lovely album. I mean, Nick picked up a lovely copy of it in Leeds the other week. So there you go. Yeah, so that's all from me. Oh, hiya, Nick.
Evening, Nick. Hello.
I'll get rid of my bunch because I've got quite a lot here. So.
Oh, okay.
As I was spending money. Now this is fire damage. This is so. The first two. We had the debut album On Jovi, which is very similar to Bon Jovi, but this is the debut album, which I picked up 2 days after seeing them support Kiss.
So that's the gay version, On Jovi.
On Jovi. In 1984, we had an album from Van Halen.
Never heard of them.
No, never heard of them. You've heard of this band, but probably not the album. Europe, Wings of Tomorrow, the album before the Final Countdown. This is when before they went all synthy pop, and it's got the best version of Open Your Heart on there. I love that cover, really good. And for the only version, and the only version of this album you need by Whitesnake, Slide It In, to get the USA remix. This is the best version and always will be. Don't care what anyone says.
It's the cover and the title, Ian. It's the cover artwork and the title.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't say it. My favourite band, rock band, came back, of course, the wonderful Deep Purple. Saw them at Nebworth Park. We'll talk about that next week because it's a different year. That was the band in '84. They were all happy for 5 minutes. Perfect Strangers knocking at your back door. Bit of Dio, the second album. The Last in Line. That's really brilliant album.
Is somebody scrabbling about there?
It's me. Sorry. I'm just taking my tablets.
Going from heavy metal and rock, I brought this. The debut album from The Art of Noise. And Dudley. Absolutely brilliant. Oh dear. Had to show one album, didn't we?
Yeah, you would.
Well, I brought it on the from the makers of in 1983, but they brought this out as a single album. But guess what?
Oh, Lord help us.
I had to go and buy it. The mighty Iron Maiden brought out
Ooh.
The Power Slave. I saw them on this tour. First time I ever saw them, I saw them at the Birmingham Odeon on this tour. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Aces High. Lost for Words. Brilliant.
I'm also lost for words.
Mike Oldfield brought out Discovery, which has got 2 France on it. Saved by a Bell, Poison Arrow is really good. He also brought out another soundtrack for the brilliant Killing Fields. Oh, Marillion released some albums in 1980.
It's a good film.
Surprise, surprise. First offering, I'm on this.
What
you were the
instrument
audience?
you playing?
I am on The Crowd at Leicester de Montfort Hall on the 5th of March, 1984. I'm sitting in Market Square Heroes.
Rocky's house, Rocky rules.
Let me have the chord.
Oh, you had to bring it out, didn't
As
you?
the dog swallowed the microphone.
It's right behind me. Live album from Mr. Gary Moore, We Want More. Some of this recorded at Donington.
Sorry, you can show Fugazi for a longer point.
We had bit of Queen, The Works. Look at John Deacon's not very good haircut. What was he thinking?
No comment.
I mean, look at them. Got all 80s on us. Stop it. Roger Taylor brought out an album, Strange Frontiers, which has got a great version of Bob Dylan's Masters of War on here. Absolutely brilliant. Spinal Tap's album. Yes, I brought the album, the film, everything. Bit of Class from Tina Turner. Private Dancer. What an album. Love this album. I saw her on this tour at Dirt in Northampton, and Brian Adams supported, and they come out and sang It's Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Good
Long
God.
time. Yeah. Little Bruce, born in the US.
Rocky hates that one as well.
Yeah. Roger Waters' debut album, Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking.
Oh dear.
Yeah, bit of bum on there.
No, put your
Get
hand
your
the
hand
other
off.
side.
Get hand the other side. Yeah, thank you.
And one of the great compilations and a limited edition, No Remorse by Motorhead. And it is in leather. This is a leather-bound version of No Remorse.
No.
Nice one.
Love that. So that's what I was buying in 1984.
Good, good.
A lot of old rubbish, wasn't it?
Well done. Well done. Well done.
Yes.
Well, I knew you'd show Fugazi for some reason.
Yeah, I did show you. I mean, I showed Assassin Picture Disc and 12 minutes earlier, so you knew it was coming. More Merrier next week, of course.
Of course.
And for the very first time on my stream, can I welcome Stunty?
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. All hail.
Yeah, how many accounts do you have, Stunty?
Beware, Stevie. I have 30 left that I haven't used yet.
Well,
Incredible.
but he got 33 watching.
Yes.
107 votes. That's quite. It's quite.
I know. It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yes, I wonder what's gone on there. Anyway, lovely to see you, Stunty. You're looking well.
Bloody Stewart's inquiry, if you ask me.
So
What's
William's
that?
back.
William's back as well.
I got
Okay.
some.
I'm going to demote myself to the bottom shelf. I have all my guests on the top.
Well, I saw
Anyway.
1984. I'm sorry, I did have to duck out there. I wasn't, trying to avoid you guys, but I saw 1984 was the topic, and I had some records I figured I could show you guys.
Oh, right. Oh.
All right. Well, we're going to start with, while I was gone, I was pulling rabbits out of a hat. This is the Sparks 1984
Oh, what an
record.
album.
Hey, brilliant.
Brilliant album.
Not their best. I mean, probably going to look for the best Sparks like in the 1970s or like when they were half Nelson. Does everyone know that they were half Nelson before they were the Sparks, right? So yeah, that's one of them. I'm going to throw this one up too because I don't have a copy. This is Porcupine by Echo and the Bunnymen, which is 1983, but 1984 was Ocean Rain, which I don't have. I wanted to show it, but I don't have one right now.
All right, fair enough.
Nick Lowe and his cowboy outfit. So definitely a little bit outside of the Nick Lowe era, which is great. Kind of like, how I mentioned the Sparks, but Nick Lowe, you really can't go wrong with, and you should be able to find a copy of this fairly cheap in the US or Europe, I would imagine.
Yeah, I love that album, William.
I'm sorry?
I love that album.
Yeah, it's great. And then I wanted to give a quick shout out to Stunty. This is an album that's kind of a lot, very relatable to him. Like a Virgin by Madonna. So, I saw Stunty on the panel here, so I just wanted to give him a shout out. But then, speaking of which, we got Elvis Costello Trust. Is this 1984? I think this is 1984. Is that right?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Is this, or I don't know what,
No, I
what
don't
you're
think
thinking? This is 1982, isn't it?
Yeah, it's earlier anyway.
All right.
Yes.
Scratch
never
this
mind.
one. Pretend I didn't even show this
Disqualified.
record.
Oh, wait, you didn't show
I don't know
that
what I
one.
was even
Yet.
thinking.
Disqualified.
But
At least
okay,
it's better than his 1984 record. So
It's usually Michael that does
it
this.
is probably better than his
Oh,
1984
Lord.
record. But speaking of records that are probably better than earlier pressings, this is "Never Could Toe the Mark" by Waylon Jennings. In that
country.
long, tall coat there. Kind of an unusual look for Waylon, but he is, of course, the outlaw.
Mm.
And then I'm going to throw, it was going to be too obvious if I threw out Prince Purple Rain. Did anybody throw out Prince Purple Rain yet?
I've got it
No.
ready.
Okay, well, if someone wanted to throw that out,
No,
I'll save that for you. But
can
I am
take
going to
it.
throw out the Apollonia 6 from 1984, which is a Prince side project. So probably
Which became Vanity 6 later.
you are correct, sir. Sex Shooter would be the probably the big hit on here.
Oh, I love that song.
It is sure great. And then I'm going to throw this out here. These records are fairly cheap within the U.S. They should be in Europe as well. But this is Kashif. Send Me Your Love. So these are going to have a lot of hip hop samples that you may not know about. So, and this is very fly, very danceable 80s pop, very, very like in the Quiet Storm era, similar to maybe like Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing era, maybe. But this is great stuff. I hold this up because not a lot of people know of Kashif. I do like to throw out those sort of underrated or oddball artists. This would be one of them. And then I'm going to throw out another one. This is Clear, Intimate Connection. I actually did just show this on my video on my channel, the Black History Month video, but Intimate Connection, which is a very, not a super common hip hop sample, but a very highly desired one. So this used to be like a $1 bin, $2 bin record. Now for some reason this goes for like $50. But that's a good one. And then I'm saving the best for last, and I don't have a lot of this artist or his band or solo work at all, but Billy Childish, The Milkshakes. And this is a UK press. Yeah, of anything I'm holding up right now, this is probably the coolest thing. Very hard for me to find Milkshakes records. I don't know, you guys remember Tuco Vintage Vinyl Hunter had a series called Dig of a Lifetime. This came from that lot of records. The guy had like thousands of records, and he had passed away many years ago. But this came from that collection too, so I was lucky to get a very cool selection at original 1984 press. Nothing Can Stop These Men by The Milkshakes. But I do have one more in the pulling rabbits out of a hat category, if you don't mind. So might take me a moment. You don't have to keep me on screen if you don't want, but or you can.
It's a two-parter. Is this from 1984, William?
This will be a 1984. I just remembered at the last minute. I have it in this box sitting next to me. So
thank God.
And by the way, Michael, good to be on screen with you. I think this.
I know. I'm tickled.
Yeah, one of our first times. So here
what
it is.
You could get the date wrong together.
And I know Stunty said he wasn't into comedy,
Weird Al,
rock, but I do have In 3D by Weird Al Yankovic. So I believe this is 1984. Yes.
And how often do you actually listen to it?
I'm not even a fan.
Good. That's the right question.
No. I'm afraid I just don't get the humor. I just don't get it.
Why would you listen to it?
Yeah.
What is your intimate connection to the record?
Records, you find them, and I figured, hey, Weird Al, we'll throw that in the oddball box. But
is Amish Paradise on that one?
Oh no, that would have been more like mid '90s, I think, because.
Oh right, yeah.
But
is it time to clap?
The reason why I didn't show Van Halen 1984 is not only would have been too obvious, but it was actually released in 1983. So.
We get it to 1984.
There you go.
Shall I crack on?
Yeah.
All right. I can show Prince Purple Rain if you want me to go in the other room, or we all know that came out in 1984.
So
that's fine. No, thank you.
And I know Stunty said he's got some.
Let's see it.
Go, Stunty.
Yeah. So this is your very first time. So welcome on board.
Thank you. So I wanted to show the best album of 1984, but I couldn't find it, which is Manuel Gotching's E2, E4, obviously. From Ashra Temple, like the blueprint of techno. So I'm gonna start with a little band from Noon Eaton in Embrace.
You mean Nuneaton?
To Eyeless in Gaza. This is absolutely amazing. There's a quite long track on this called The Longer Living Daylights, which is like post-punk, electro, very funky, but like quite angular funky. But something more punk, or is it? The first album by Penny Rimbaud from Crass. I'm sure you guys are familiar with her. This came out on Crash Records, in 1984, and this is more like
That's a great album.
Yeah, it's kind of a lullaby, like kind of almost like Eric Satie kind of record. It's a double. Oh well, yeah, it's got like a pretty neat book. It's not even a booklet. It's so massive. I remember I found this in Sheffield. In Sheffield actually. Like probably one of the most commercially successful experimental album of 1984. The first Anne Clark, which should be post-punk industrial, but which ends up being kind of like a dub record, actually. This is her very first one. So yeah, I'm doing kind of like a British special for you guys. I know that Iain was like all about America almost, but like so I'm kind of correcting the course. Well, I say that, and it's not the non-English record I'm showing, but it's on a British label. It's the very first Dead Can Dance EP, first Dead Can Dance record on 4AD.
I wonder if somebody would have that.
Yeah.
Nice one.
This is way more post-punk than their later, like, new agey, ambient, indie stuff. Something less British, because it's from the Netherlands, Dojoji, which is kind of a funky female vocal Joy Division type of band. Really cool. And it kind of got, like, a little bit of a clue about the Joy Division connection here. Probably the most known record of 1984, like by the mainstream, I have here.
Oh yes, my good friend, Robert Fripp.
Yeah, and one of my two favorite King Crimson albums, if I'm being honest. The other one, the red one.
Yeah, it's a good album.
He did a launching of that in Square Records in Wimborne, near to where I used to live.
And were you there?
No.
Why do you even mention it?
Because I have strong ties to Robert, you know.
You nearly pushed him over, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bumped into him on many
opinion,
occasions.
The best UK band from the 80s, or like the band from the UK that has the best track record between 79 and 89, Wire, the second solo album by Bruce Gilbert from Wire, which came out on Mute. And this is more like almost like industrial electronics, power noise, post-punk. It's really, really good. Engineered by John Fryer. So yeah, it's kind of out there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that looks good. I've not seen that before, Stunty, and I really love Wire.
A compilation from 84, but a compilation of EPs between 82 and 84. That guy didn't release any album, but he did a few EPs which were collected in 84. And this is for me the last hurrah of Robert Wyatt. After that, it's great, but it's not for me anymore. Like, it's kind of redundant. My favorite dance floor record of 84, the second album by the Raincoats, Moving, much better than the first one in my opinion. I know it's a controversial opinion, but this has just aged better. It's not like punk, it's just like white funk, really groovy. It's more like kind of a British ESG. Ari, what's her name? Ari Up.
Hurry up,
yeah. It's closer to that, with great bass lines. It's mostly a female band, but well, it also means that I'm getting closer to Manchester here. Obviously, my favorite album of Section 25. Yes, it's not the Sandpaper album. This is kind of looks like the New Order record.
Yeah.
because it's on factory, but it's much better than the order. Oops, sorry.
How dare you?
Blasphemy.
Now, something more from London, I believe, and that is kind of like now people think it's an industrial band, but it's actually like kind of a more a post-punk band with some like there's saxophone, so there's kind of inclinations towards like jazz minimalism, and this is the third LP from Bourbonnais Squawk, the two brothers. This is absolutely amazing. I don't think you see that much, but this is like proper London underground royalty in a way. Now, a band that you might not know, General Strike, but you might know these two guys, and David Cunningham. Since a couple of weeks ago, I think Michael was showing the Flying Lizards. This is basically the Flying Lizards after the Flying Lizards, and it's like post-punk dub, more dub than post-punk actually. This is amazing. This came out as a cassette only back then, so this was only first issued on vinyl, like in 2012, I think.
I'm flattered that you watched this live stream, and you also remember something that I did. I'm doubly flattered.
I have good memory.
Were you on last week, Michael?
I was.
Okay. I forgot.
Now here's a very strange project, probably too unknown for some. Jeremy's Secret, which is basically Simon Fisher Turner, who used to do a lot of soundtracks for Derek Jarman. And so he did a lot of records on mute as well. And he used to be like a child star. In the late 60s, in 69, a big label tried to make him like a new Bowie, David Bowie. And he had an album and a few 7-inches, and he rebelled against that. And by the late 70s, he was way more inspired by like Throbbing Gristle and all that kind of music. And he was also very gender fluid. He's a man, but he had another band called Deux Filles, Two Girls in French. And this is kind of a variation on Two Girls because it's the same guys. The other guy in this is, I forgot his name, but he has a great, you guys might know better him than me, Lloyd Tucker, Lloyd Tucker. Colin Lloyd Tucker. He's done a lot of like more psychedelic rock bands in the 80s. Not for me, but interesting.
I think that's the first time we've ever heard the term gender fluid on this stream.
Well, now an absolutely stunning album from '84. It's that this came out in '84 is weird. This is music from the future in '84. Urban Gamelan. The second side of this is like a post-punk industrial band who went on to actually produce stuff for Madonna, doing gamelan, Balinese like percussion music, but like kind of in a SPK fashion, their own way. And yeah, most of their records are absolutely amazing. Not my favorite record of this band, but they had an album in '84, Cabaret Voltaire, which is better now than it was 10 years ago, but it's still not great. A record from 1984 that I don't know why no one has showed it yet. It's also like one of the greatest dance tunes of 1984.
Well, you might be surprised, Stunton.
No, I was expecting you to talk about that.
Have you got the picture disc?
Nope, because it sounds like shit.
Thank you very much.
I've got it on mini CD.
What's that?
I've got that Sex Crime Eurythmics on mini CD.
What's that?
It's a half-size CD. Go on.
It's a single by the Eurythmics.
So this is Harumi Hosono from the Yellow Magic Orchestra doing a 1984 video game soundtrack, and that sounds absolutely amazing. It is kind of like a proto electro techno record. It's much fun, and it was released in Japan and in Germany for some reason. It's got
Stunty, you do know this is a top 5 from 1984.
not according to Iain.
Yes, he's a special guest, Stevie.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I have on my Discogs count, I had 319 records from 1984, so I'm
Right.
pretty gentle. Fat Gadget, like one of his 2 best albums, in my opinion, Frank Tovey. This is before he went into a country weird obsession, which turned out actually interesting, but not as great as. I mean, his best stuff is collapsing new what? Collapsing new. Help me, Stevie.
Sorry, I faded out there. Sorry.
What's Fat Gadget's big tune? Collapsing something.
Oh, yeah.
Collapsing new something. A great EP from 1984.
Yeah. Mercy.
Hey, yes.
They were being
Maybe
played.
their best 12-inch because it's got Body Electric, which is one of these tunes that still sounds kind of edgy because it doesn't have too much of the goth schlock. It's more like a very minimal, almost electro tune.
Is it Collapsing New People?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Gadget Collapsing. Yeah.
I'm
Well
sorry.
done,
At first, I wanted to show the single because it's got a great B-sides, the Let's Go Crazy, but yeah. So I'll let you talk more about it, Stevie. A great band from Manchester that people might have forgotten, 52nd Street, which is kind of like an R&B funk version by Manchester Hacienda. This is the US pressing, but it was actually released on Factory. These guys went on to do Quando Quango with Mike Pickering, who is like the biggest DJ of the Hacienda. I wanted to show some Quando Quango, but I couldn't find them. Now something that you might be surprised a little bit. I'm close to the end, don't worry. Too Much Blood. Arthur Baker producing the Rolling Stones, and they never sounded that futuristic. And it's a great, really bassy, dubby, like a start of the party tune. It's to get the party started, yeah. Now something that I assume Stevie might want to show this. I'll show both the album and the single, because the single you have the long intro, the piano intro that is not on the album of Small Town Boy, which is like timeless. In my opinion, the production is insane on that record.
I'm afraid I don't like them, Stuntley, at all.
Yeah, well, that's why you're not gender fluid. But talking about not gender fluid, but very much into fluids and male. Coils, How to Destroy Angels. Ritual music for the accumulation of male sexual energy. 17 minutes.
There we go.
Otherwise, its existence is eternal warfare. And
this is like some sort of equality and diversity lecture.
You could put that up as the greatest album, that.
Diversity officer, Stunty.
Coil is one of my absolute favorite bands, obviously. Closely or kind of only matched by Nurse with Wound. Of course, a Nurse with Wound record, and actually a great one. It's an EP. So this is experimental, surrealistic, electronic collage, krautrock, goes in all directions. It's the only band that I allow myself to be a fan of, that like I could buy a record of theirs that I don't even like. But yeah, which is why I got, but I don't really, and I like them all. And he's still active, so which means that I have about 140 records of Nurse with Wound now. And,
wow.
Also connected to Coil, CTI, which is Chris and Cozy, Elemental. This one is more like pop, electro, pop tunes. It's a great record, and just to have fun. In the end, I have a few more, but I'll just close with this one. One of the very cool slow tempo club tracks of '84.
Wonderful.
Good one.
Oh,
Save the
that's
best till
great.
last.
That is great,
Exactly.
Stunty. It's lovely to see something different on the stream. While you were doing that,
Yeah.
Simon popped in the corner.
Greetings, Simon.
Simon.
Evening,
Hey,
Simon.
Simon.
It's a bit like Celebrity Squares here tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it looks like Rachel's Ghost, but people who
No.
actually like music.
Shall I go next before my battery dies?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll let you go next.
Hey, I got round 2 for 1984.
No, shut up,
It's
James.
okay.
Shut up.
No.
Okay, at the moment.
No
All right,
more.
Go
I'm
for
going
it,
to bring us
Stevie.
all. I'm going to bring us all down very much to earth with a bump. So I'm going to start off with what Stunty has already shown, the classic Euro the Mix 1984. I can't believe Stunty didn't show this, the picture. I think this was more easily available than the 12-inch.
Is it? Okay.
So I'm gonna do just 12 inches to start off with very quickly. So this is Michael's second favorite band, ABC, which is already, and this is Michael's favorite band. So this is Wham! Wake Me Up Before You Go, 12
Oh
inch.
dear.
Oh dear.
And this is Freedom, although it's long version by Wham! Freedom.
You're going
God,
steadily
only one
downhill
is
now.
hard enough, Stevie.
Going down.
And to add to the cheese, I think you can guess what that is, right?
Where's Bernard when you need him?
Something a really knackered 12-inch of U2's Pride in the Name of Love. I got that for free.
Fluid? Is that
Maybe.
a gender fluid record, Stevie?
I don't know. Yeah, why not? Who cares? It's anything goes. Stunty, I'm quite surprised you didn't show this band. This was an absolute gem from 1984. It's the Blue Nile Tinseltown, Tinseltown in the Rain from the Blue Nile, Regratton and Heatwave. You familiar with that, Stunty?
In the immortal words of Rob Walker, decent.
Mike had the 7-inch, but has he got the 12-inch? No. So
No, I don't. No.
And on the
singles deserve to be on 7-inch, Stevie.
Yeah. So you got the humming wires there, which I don't think Mike showed.
Oh
so,
yeah, the extra track. Yeah, well done.
now that's decent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I'm amazed nobody's shown this yet. Come on, Thieves Like Us. I've got 3 copies of this, so that's New Order's Thieves Like Us. Great sort of backing track, and also I've got the complement to it, which is Murder, which is a bit more darker. So that's my 12 inches, bringing everybody back down to earth. So just a couple of albums already been shown. This is part of my 80s collection. So Madonna, Like a Virgin. So there's the track listing of that.
That was shown already.
Yeah, and I had that out, but I'm not even going to talk about it.
That one too.
Okay, has anybody shown this yet?
No.
David Bowie.
Oh.
So that's got Blue Jean and Loving the Alien. So I'm not really that keen on Bowie, but I do grow a bit of Bowie. Yazoo had finished, but we've still got Alison Moyet, or as French vinyl addict Romuald would say, Alison Boyer. So Love Resurrection, all the rest of it there.
And as the Americans would say, Moyet.
Yeah, Moyet. Sparkle in the Rain, Simple Minds. So getting their stadium sound off, good and proper.
The greatest song they ever did.
Yeah. Okay. YouTube, The Unforgettable Fire. Trick photography question. Does anybody know how that picture was taken?
With a camera.
Yeah, sounded like northern BC. Yeah. No, that's an infrared filter. If anybody's interested. So
Thank you.
okay, and track from this, The Ghost in You. Can you tell what it is? It's psychedelic for Ghost in You. Now,
That's all.
talking of my deep connection with Robert Fripp, I actually got this a few months ago. Got this on CD, loved it so much I had to get the vinyl. So that's Brilliant Trees by David Sylvian. I couldn't not mention this. Talk, It's My Life. Actually met them backstage one day. And so I'll just finish off with an OG copy bought at the time. It is, of course, The Smiths. With their hand in glove.
First time shown tonight, the Smiths. Nobody showed.
Yeah, I'm right. I haven't got The Cure or Echo and the Bunnymen, or I haven't got Spangle Maker by or Treasure by Cocteau Twins. So I had to show something decent, something original. Okay, thank you very much, AD4.
Brilliant.
Yay.
Thank you, Stunty.
Oh, we got the test card from Simon.
Oh, sorry, I forgot one. I forgot one that Stunty definitely wouldn't have. Make me big again. Just make me big.
All right.
Okay, something that Stunty definitely wouldn't have. Because why? Because it's a bootleg tape from June 1984, and it is New Order. And so it's a bootleg which I bought at the gig. So from a couple of weeks before, and there's the track listing. Can you see that? So we've got Temptation, Age of Consent, Perfect Kiss, Confusion. So that's New Order, bootleg tape.
Handmade label with a typewriter.
Yeah, lovingly photocopied by somebody, illegally produced. Thank you very much. All right, I forgot to show.
I had
Thank
quite a
you.
lot of them back in the day.
That's good.
I had a couple of Marillion ones I did from 1985.
I got a quick round two.
I'm going to put some William up. Off
So
you
I got
go.
a quick round two. Few that I dug out while Stunty was showing some records. So I actually just showed this recently required at a record show on Sunday. Double Nickels on the Dime by the Minutemen. I don't believe this is an original press, and I haven't had this in my collection in many years, but very happy to reacquire this recently. And then speaking of, in the same sort of genre of music, I'm a little bit surprised that anybody shown this yet. I have The Replacements' Let It Be, perhaps their best record.
Nobody's shown that.
And that's kind of why I did some digging. I figured, Stunty was starting to throw some of those rarities and more obscure. So I was like, I got to pull some of those out myself. But speaking
These
of
are American records.
I know, well, speaking of American records, this is a store you guys have probably not been to ever in your life, but I have the Walmart exclusive of Metallica Ride the Lightning, which came out in 1984.
Walmart exclusive. Excellent.
So, this is, from 1984, this would be like a 2021 repress, but I'm going to throw this one out there. Not a huge fan of this band, but Perfect Strangers by Deep Purple came out in 1984.
Oh, God, yeah, of course.
Someone's laughing at me, I can tell. Well, shout out to the franchise Shane Douglas. Anybody who's a pro wrestling fan out there might know that was his theme song in ECW.
At least you showed an English record.
I did. Well, and then also, I'm showing this. This isn't... Okay, LAMF Revisited. This was remastered in 1984. So this would be Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. It came out in 1976. Oops. But then I think the mastering of this was just done so poorly that they went back and redid this. So this mastering of this sounds much better. You guys know I've talked about this enough. Like the UK punk, that New York punk, I really love. This is amongst one of my probably 5 favorite punk records of all time. But then that's it for 1984. I did want to show. I did find my copy of Imaginos by Blue Oyster Cult, so it's rare as hell. Just wanted to show that one off too. So I appreciate you there, Ian.
No problem, fella. That's what we're for. Well, this has got to be a first. I've got every 10 people up.
It's a pan-Europe show. This is groundbreaking.
Meet again.
Sweden, Belgium, the UK, Japan, America.
VC worldwide.
Christ.
I love it.
This is incredible. Thank you very much. This is a momentous night. Anyway, hello, Fred. How are you doing?
Hi, Belgium signing in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. This is so. I sort of missed you on because I was off doing something with Jimmy, but Mike filled me in and I did watch it. So
yeah,
welcome. Welcome.
It was great, yeah, because we all discovered a brilliant new live stream on Sunday night, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Old. He's doing one on Sundays. Anyway, Nick's
Hang
got
on,
his
Nick.
finger up.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
Has anybody done the lyrics yet? Because it's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, isn't it? Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
That's
Yes,
Frankie.
spot
Funny
on.
funny you should say that. Did anyone show this?
What's that, Frank?
Oh. No, we haven't yet. No.
No.
It's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. This was the box set that was released in 2014.
Oh,
Wow.
nice one.
That's good.
So
Yeah,
what's in there apart from the album then?
All of this.
Everything.
But tapes, art books, a poster signed by Trevor Horn. It's got 3 10-inches, the double album. It's got everything. It's
Wow.
inside the Pleasure Dome.
That's
Yeah.
really lovely. That is lovely.
But I actually bought it because I'm a big fan of the graphic designer who did this. So that's because I love the album, of course, also. But yeah, it's done by DJ Food, the DJ from England, and he's also a graphic designer, and he designed this incredible box, and it was signed by Trevor Horn as well. So 1984 is Frankie Goes to Hollywood, right? All of you English people should know that.
Yes, we have T-shirts over here that I don't give a what Frankie says, and Frankie says this, and Frankie said that, and
Yeah, that was cool. All that artwork is in there as well. All the T-shirts, designs, and stuff like that. I have a couple of 1984 albums, if you would allow me.
Sure.
Fred.
I might want to start with this post-punk album from Belgium. This is Luc van Akker.
Oh, I've heard of it. Not heard his stuff, but I've heard of the name.
He was in the band Arbeid Adelt, which there was a guy who presented, I think it was 120 Minutes on MTV. What was his name? Marcel van Tilt, the VJ. Well, anyway, that doesn't matter. This is a great post-punk album from Belgium. It's 1981. Yeah, this is it's a bit experimental, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah. Luc van Akker. It was released on Music on Vinyl. Oop, where are you? I'm very bad at this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
did
was
a lot of
released.
EBM stuff later on.
Yeah, they did. They did. Also, I don't know if anyone has shown this, but this is 1984, right?
Yeah.
Café Bleu. This is one of the first secondhand albums that I ever bought, actually, because I really like Paul Weller, of course. Wally Badarou. This is the keyboard player of Level 42, and he recorded together with Sly and Robbie those great Grace Jones albums at the Compass Studios. So he was on Night Clubbing and Warm Leatherette of Grace Jones, and he also was with Level 42, the keyboard player.
Yeah, he was a good keyboard player.
This is a great album. It was sampled by Massive Attack on their first album as well. So this is pretty good. I really like this one.
Most of these albums are very, very collectible, and they
he did some new age kind of stuff as well. But yeah, I love this one. Stunty, Going to France, Love on the Beat by Gainsbourg. 1984.
I haven't seen Surge for a long time.
More gender fluidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good eyes, Stunty.
This stream is brought to you by Gender Fluidity.
The Tavistock Clinic.
Well, the title track is obviously an S&M anthem, I think. No, Love on the Beat, Stunty. Do you agree with me?
Yeah. It's like if you think that Welcome to the Pleasure Dome is explicit, well,
yep, pretty explicit album. Gender fluidity, yeah. What else do I have? I didn't order this one. Oh, this one. Ivan Conti. He is the drummer of the Brazilian jazz funk masters Azimuth, and he's the drummer. And in my opinion, one of the best drummers that ever lived. He passed away a couple of years ago. This is a 1984 album. but he was the drummer with Azimuth, the Brazilian jazz funk band. Great drummer. I was happy to see him live a couple of years ago before he died. So great drummer. Moving to South Africa, Hugh Masekela. Maybe you've heard of him.
Oh yes.
Techno Bush. And this has I think this was a big hit. Don't Go Lose It Baby was an immense hit, I think, for him in the 1980s. It was released on Jive. Hugh Masekela from Africa. South Africa, Techno Bush. 2 Japan records, 2 guys from Stunty mentioned Yellow Magic Orchestra. This is Riichi Sakamoto right here, yeah. And Haruomi Hosono. This is a very experimental electronic album, very weird proto hip hop stuff, and this is good. This has piano pieces. Oops, where are you? Piano pieces, and this was recently reissued, I think, by a French label. Yeah. Yellow Magic Orchestra, and like Stunty said, I found it. I had to look for it too, Stunty. I didn't know where it was, but I found it. Manuel Gutsching.
Yeah, nice.
What was the band he was in?
Ashta Temple.
Ashura Temple. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but
This
this
is like,
this is just another level.
yeah, it's just a 1 hour. I prefer listening to it on CD actually because it's one track, you know, of 60 minutes. Yeah, repetitive stuff. And closing off with some soul music, Change of Heart, produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who did Janet Jackson's Control album, the title track.
He's like every Janet Jackson song.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I like this one. 1984 from Belgium.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much for your first
That was
time.
nice.
Was it supposed to be a top 5?
No, just
Every record from
Records from
1984 that you
1984.
own.
As long as it's gender fluid.
And it has to be gender fluid.
Okay, no problem.
That was lovely. Well done.
Well, yeah. That's some great stuff. Have you got anything to show, Nick?
No,
You've stopped buying records by then. And Gary
Just say,
Newman
just
was-
say vote Quadrophenia.
vote Quadrophenia or else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A big shout out to all the supporters of Blue Oyster Cult out there.
Black Blade.
Yeah. Hello, both of you.
Number 1 and number 2.
Yes, Steve, you've got the community poll to rely on to get the boosts.
Well, if this one could be hacked, then maybe that one could be hacked as well. I think you know, it's very disturbing what's happening.
sour grapes, Stevie. Sour grapes.
I've got a cover for you, Michael.
Oh yeah?
What was the worst album of 1984? Anyone know that?
No.
Well, it might have been that a record that William was showing, Al Yankovic, right?
You think that's the worst one? 3D in 3D by Weird Al
Might be.
Yankovic?
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah.
So you're saying that
I'll tell you,
everyone who showed a record, I showed the worst one?
Well,
Was-
you haven't even listened to it, so how can you defend it?
Is E.D.T on there? That is that Michael Jackson parody E.D.T on there?
You got E.D.T on here. You got
Like Surgeon.
I mean, I've never listened to it, so I'm probably not the one to
I
speak
rest my
on it.
case.
Yeah, you rest. Yeah, okay, there you go. But then I did do a little bit more digging. Fistful of Metal by Anthrax, 1984.
Way, bit of hardcore.
It never ends. Hey, you know what? 1984 in Roman numerals by Van Halen.
Let's see if we can-
Shout out to Melinda Murphy.
Shout out to Melinda Murphy. Was she born in 1984?
She's the biggest Van Halen fan
Oh,
in the
okay.
world.
Yeah.
It's time for a cleaning products advert.
I've just seen someone's left. Who's left?
What have you got, Stevie?
I've got one of Michael's favorite albums. I'm not sure why. I've only bought one album this week. Do you want to have a look?
Oh, please.
In fact, can you judge from the back cover what it is?
Earthling.
Make me big. I've got to put my hand over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The,
You wouldn't
it's
get
the-
away with that today, would you?
It's the band cover, yeah. So
Yeah,
we've had lots of
Surprising,
SMN
really.
and gender fluidity, so we might as well have this as well. So that was this week's purchase.
It's a great album, though. It is a great album, Steve.
It's a really good album, yeah.
Yeah. So there we are. So Winwood, Clapton, and Baker, isn't it? Yeah.
Rick Rich.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, what's happened to Nick?
Yeah, he's disappeared, though.
Yeah, I was just going to show something that Nick would appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, 1984 was the first year I actually went to concerts. I mean, in 1984, I saw Marillion at Leicester de Montfort. I saw Iron Maiden in Birmingham. But the big gig for me in 1984 was Status Quo, first at Leicester de Montfort on their so-called End of the Road tour. And then, of course, the Milton Keynes Bowl, where I didn't just see Status Quo, I saw Marillion again. I saw Nazareth, Jason and the Scorchers, and some glam rock that we can't mention the name of him now.
Oh no! Yeah. I mean, let's face it. We all wanted to be in that gentleman's gang, didn't we?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what.
Not anymore.
I'll tell you what.
Him with a glittery white suit and the big hair.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It was a fantastic set.
I wanted to say that the first concert I saw was also in 1984 when I was 10 years old, but actually it was 1986 when Sandra Kim won the Eurovision Song Contest for Belgium.
Nice.
I went to see her with my dad, so I was 12, and it was not 1984, so forget I said it.
That's all. You can come on in 2 weeks.
I did go to a concert when I was 9, but I was sort of dragged along. I'm not going to say who it was. This is embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, the first gig I went to was a long time before that. And at least the first one I can remember going to was the Straubs in about 1971.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So
my first proper gig was when I was 14. I'm just looking at it, November the 18th, 1979. Have a guess who it was.
Shawaddy.
Close, yeah. No, it was the Jam, Setting Suns.
right. Very good.
Yeah. It's a good first gig.
It could have been Adam and the Ants, and everything would have been different.
This is my first time on here, and I admitted that I went to see Eurovision Song Contest winner live when I was 12. So I think Iain, you can say which concert you would drag along to.
Who won?
Okay, Fred. I think that's a fair point. I've seen Cilla Black.
Who?
Cilla Black.
Oh, she was a legend.
Oh, I didn't know she did that song that she was famous for. But yeah, I was not. My mum and nan dragged me along.
Did she tell you to sort of come outside?
Yeah, step inside.
Step inside. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
not come outside.
Yeah. But I think Cilla Black was sort of maligned by her sort of later television work. You know, when she became a game show host and you know, a sort of presenter on really crap television. But I mean,
we should introduce people like that on here. You know, what's your name and where did you come from?
Mind your own effing business.
Exactly.
My first should have been Hawkwind, but we didn't come up with a good enough lie to the parents.
Oh, how old were you, Stunty?
13.
Oh, wow,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I only saw one band in 1984. Can you guess what it is?
Echo and the Bunnymen?
No, well, that was
New Order.
Well, it was New Order, yeah, because that's where I bought that.
Yeah, you said.
I saw I said Psychedelic Furs as well that year.
Oh, that's good.
Very good. Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, we saw them at Birmingham Odeon. It was the first time we'd been there. We got in the taxi at New Street, and we said, "Take us to the Birmingham Odeon." And he opened up the door the other side and says, "Just round the corner."
Yeah. Is it right? I mean, nowadays there are two O2 academies in Birmingham, and people get confused, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saying that in Northampton we've got the Derngate and the Royal Theatre. They're right next to each other. Now, we went to see a Queen tribute band, and there was this play on, and this couple came in the wrong thing, and they sat down, and people came in to sit in our seats. No, we're not. And they said, "We're in the right seats." "No, you're not." And then they got the usher. "Right seats, wrong theatre."
Hey Stevie, what did you see New Order?
right. Yeah, I'm just having I've just seen that in the chat. Yeah, so it was June 27th, 1984. New Order, Mayfair Suite, Southampton.
Okay.
And I made a note because I've actually got a poster of this. I seem to remember the support was something called the Scientist, but they were absolute rubbish.
No, really?
Were they? Were they? Yeah.
Was it the reggae band? Yeah, or the reggae
Dub band.
No, it wasn't them. It was another, just like somebody you never heard of. I don't know.
Because there's also like an Australian like noise band called the Scientists.
I might have got that wrong then, but I seem to remember it was called The Scientist. In Hookie's book, he lists all the gigs that they played at, and there's no. Normally, he mentions who the support were, but there was no mention there.
Not even worth mentioning.
No, yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, it's funny that I've got a record of exactly when my first ever gig was. 5th of March 1984. That one again.
All right.
Side 2 I'm on, side 2, because the side one of that's done in the Spectrum in Quebec.
what's that Stunty might know? There's a website if you want to look up sort of the gigs and the set list. Sometimes people put the set list on. I'll try and find it.
Very useful. Set list.
Set list FM.
Cool, set list, yeah, you're right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That sounds like the most nerdy thing ever, but
I know.
You like nerdy things. You love it.
Would you? I've actually made a note somewhere. Would you like to know the set list from 1984?
No, that's okay.
No, okay. No. All right, forget it.
Actually, Stunty, when I go to a gig, I am the nerd who goes to the PA and asks the sound man or woman for the set list. So yeah, there are enough nerds out there who want to read that stuff.
yeah, I did that too when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah. When you were 16,
I usually go online afterwards, and so I can find out what I've just listened to.
I do that now to sort of remember what I listened to, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's like when I went to see the Oyster Cult. I was so excited.
I bet.
Yeah, well, they're my favourite American band, so it was just great to see them, even if it wasn't the classic sounding, but they did all the classics. And then it was years later. I can't remember the gig, but I can't remember what songs was. So I went and looked on FM to see what I listened to. Yeah, I was quite happy. Yeah. I've somewhere on tape. I've got. I got it off radio, the Friday Frock show. Bon Jovi. I got to that album after I saw them supporting Kiss. My mate turned around to me and said to me, "These are a bit useful." This was Bon Jovi. And then about 20 odd years later, we was at Milton Keynes Bowl and they were headlining. And he went, Told you these were going to be a bit useful.
Ian, be careful, because there's only a certain amount of times that Mike can hear the word Bon Jovi per stream, and when you reach that threshold, he explodes. So
Yeah.
just like
It's
we get
one.
close.
It's one, Stunty.
I thought we were talking about On Jovi. Wasn't that the name of the album?
Oh yeah, on
Jovi?
Jovi sounds a lot better. Yeah, tribute band.
That was the album that was sort of, because my record collection nearly got destroyed in a house fire.
Ouch. Okay.
And this one was one of the casualties.
Okay.
I'm still looking for. Okay, you can put your paper down. I've put it down now, Stunty, all right?
Yeah. Okay. Are we done with that? Yeah.
Done with that.
Anyway, collection single that I bought this week. So,
Yeah.
I think Nick will be interested in this. It's a lovely cover. I always get those singles, and it's a lovely eggs.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the artist is a guy called Casey Raymond, who does all their cover work now, all their artwork now.
Yeah, that's cool sleeve.
Rob Shell. I love Lovely Eggs. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, both tracks are bound to be on the album that comes out in May, but as I say, I buy the singles because the artwork's so brilliant.
Is it a punk band?
Yeah, sort of very DIY. They're just a duo. There's
They're married,
Holly,
aren't they?
Holly who plays the guitar and does the vocals, and then David on the drums. And
Nice.
they're very very minimalist DIY. And I think they say on their website, we do what we want to do, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah. Okay.
They're good.
And they're brilliant, and I love them, and they're really good.
Are they
They're from
fluid?
Lancaster in Lancashire, in north of England. So there you go. Yeah, I just like show Nick.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Have you played your Anya record yet?
Sorry?
Have you played that?
Yes, yeah. I have. I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I get it so we know people know what we're talking about.
So I'm just going to. Yeah, Johan, what a great day that was at Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
The
There we
beauty of
go.
that, it's down the road from me, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Anya Hoyer from
Make him big.
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to. So many squares here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the album. Nick mentioned it last Thursday night, and straight afterwards, I managed to find it at Rough Trade. So I ordered it, and it turned up a couple of days ago, and I played it 4 or 5 times now. The vinyl's lovely as well. It's,
It kind of looks like Genesis P. Orange.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Where's she from again?
Sorry?
Which band is she from originally?
X-Mel Deutschland.
Oh yes, one
And
band.
I've been let down by my local record shop actually about X-Mel Deutschland, because they had an album out. I mean, it's not the record shop's fault. They had an album out, early singles that came out Friday before last, I think, and it was quite limited, and they just had their order cancelled, because they all go to the bigger retailers. So again, I went to Rough Trade, and hopefully I'll get it. I get it in the next few days. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant album, Nick. So thanks very much for pointing me in that direction.
What label was that on, Mike? I recognize the label.
The label is.
I recognize the logo, but
yeah.
X-Mel Deutschland.
I don't know. Get my glasses on.
Like they had a few albums on
unless somebody else can look it up. Yeah.
X-Mel Deutschland. They had like a couple of albums on on 4AD.
Yeah,
but before that,
it's Sacred Bones Records.
Oh,
it's
Sacred Bones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize.
So there you go. And as I say, it's absolutely brilliant. Export Deutschland were one of those bands that I think kind of passed the British market by a little bit in
they
the
were on
early
4AD,
80s.
but before that, they were on Zigzag, which is an amazing like electro post-punk German label, and their early stuff is like still sounds so modern, which is kind of weird because when you look at their style, they look so corny and cheesy, but like the music was like, don't let the image and the style they have like fool you. Like they're really a great band.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there you go.
Well, the first two albums are just like impossible to find in the wild.
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
Rare and hen's teeth.
Yeah, you know, you don't see them at record fairs at all, and I think if you do, it's silly money.
It's similar, same as sort of Clad of Zymox as well, isn't it? You know, similar story.
Yeah, but you only want to have a Moscovite mosquito, anyways. So.
Stunty, someone's asking, are you going to Den Bosch?
I'm not sure yet. I'm going to France on a Saturday for 2.5 weeks to take care of family unfortunate matters, and I come back only 3 days before Den Bosch, so I don't know if I will be able to afford it. We'll see.
Okay.
Well, I brought some records in the week. Only 2.
Let's see them.
You really want to see these?
Mike, don't say yes. Please, Mike, say no.
Original gay following.
Wow. Status quo.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
And,
Zero gender fluidity.
Another one.
yeah.
I've got that,
I've
Ian.
now got all the albums I wanted again on vinyl, so I'm a happy bunny. I've got a story.
Can
The
I
other
ask
day,
you?
Mike, I was playing that punk album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I opened up the door to put some rubbish up, and one of the guys that lives in my little street, his dad's a big punk fan, and he was I've got it on rather loud, so he said to me, he says, "Is that I'm in love with Margaret Thatcher?" I went, "Yeah." I says, "I had this," and I showed him it. He said, "Oh, this is brilliant." So he's off to go and find a copy of it now, because he's putting together. Him and his mates are putting together a punk band, and he says there's songs on here that we'd love to do, but we can't remember how to play them. So when I through the album cover, he went, "Oh, this is my childhood."
Yeah.
All in this album. So,
Well, I'm glad you appreciate it, Ian, because you know, when you said you wanted to start to get into punk, I thought I had to encourage you because you know you really need to be weaned off of some of this stuff. You know, but Quo behind you, you really need to do that.
You need to move forward.
At the end of the day, I'll always be a diehard Quo fan. I'm a Marillion fan. But
Ian, what do you make of the 12 Gold Bars compilation?
I've got it, but I don't play it.
You don't like it?
Well, I've got them all, and it's got the short version of Mystery Song, the short version of Down Down.
It's got Paper Plane, is it?
Paper Plane's on it, yeah. It's okay, but you know, I only brought it because it got Status Quo written on it.
Yeah, I won't bother.
Yeah, but I don't play it very often.
I got a couple of singles Stunty will really love.
Oh, it will make you big again.
Okay, very rare.
Beatles, yeah.
Who are they?
The Beatles, and I think that's She Loves You.
Well,
Thank
great
you,
cover.
I've never heard of them.
No.
Thank you.
Apples. Yeah.
What, Pepsi? Do you think that I don't have any love for the Beatles?
What's what rare stuff have you got of the Beatles, Stunty? I'm interested.
Like, what do you mean rare?
Well, have you got any sort of out of the
Unusual?
ordinary pressings or?
No, I have like, well, I have first French pressings of Revolver, the White Album, but like my favorite Beatles stuff is still like the 12-inch single of Temporary Secretary of Paul McCartney, which is quite rare because
That's rare, yeah.
they only did 10,000 of it. There's only one pressing of it, and it has the B-side of it has this track called Secret Friend, which is like, yeah, like the really what the Beatles could have done if they were still a band in the early 80s. But I'm actually writing currently a comic book strip about the Beatles.
Yeah. Okay.
For a
Oh,
music
that'd be
magazine.
interesting.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
By the way, is like, I'm sorry, it was my skit there, but like, is there anyone in the UK who actually reads that?
No.
Okay.
I used to whenever I worked in London.
Okay. I subscribed to it last year, and it's actually really good writing. It's only every other week, so it got enough time to read it. And
Yeah.
It takes you
I'm
2 weeks
surprised
to
you
read
can
it.
still get it in a paper version.
yeah,
Yeah, it's excellent. Yeah.
see the latest, the March 7 issue.
Come on. So what are we missing this week then, Dante? By not having a copy?
Oh, I'm just starting to read this
Yes,
one.
in the London Review of Books. What's
Okay, so okay, which one seemed good? American Gun: The True Story of AR-15 by Cameron McWhirter and Sasha Ellinson. Gun country, gun capitalism, culture, and control in the Cold War America. That sounds interesting. Against the World: Anti-Globalism and Mass Politics Between the World Wars.
all right?
Yeah. Bibliophobia: The End and the Beginning of the Book. Like, it's basically tackling what you're talking about, like the end of physical.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's always nice, you got poetry, like some poems. Like, it's not something I normally do. Like every Friday for my streams, in the description I put a poem in it, and it's just like basically giving myself an excuse to look for a poem every week. So I read a poem every week. Now I read a little more because there's a couple in this every week, and like, I mean, it sounds like an old-fashioned and kind of like weird thing, but it's kind of nice to read poetry every once in a while.
Yeah.
I love poetry.
That's right. I actually, my wife and I were talking about statues the other day, and my favourite statue is the statue of John Betjeman at St Pancras Station.
Oh, that is.
It's absolutely wonderful. And I mean, I don't know if you know, Stunty, but the reason that the poet laureate statue is at a railway station is that he did a very famous film about what was called Metroland, which was how the sort of London suburbs sort of expanded northwards via the Metropolitan Railway.
I'm really, really into Iain Sinclair and the whole like psychogeography stuff, London Orbital and all that. So that should connect with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's online anyway. Sort of John Betjeman's Metroland. It's absolutely wonderful.
And it's something you can connect with Iain's city's most famous author, Alan Moore.
Exactly. There's connections everywhere, aren't there?
It would be interesting, I would be curious if Iain, like if you would read Jerusalem, the book Alan Moore wrote about Northampton, like from the beginning of the Big Bang up into millions of years in the future, the same neighborhood in Northampton, like 15,000 pages about that.
Oh, I mean, I'm going after a poetry. I mean, I'm fascinated by the history of my own town. We had a castle. We had a major thing in the English Civil War around here, because the Battle of Naseby is literally up the road. Battle of Northampton, there is still, which is on a golf course, and there's still fine lead pellets from that bottle. But yeah, there's a wonderful poem that was about the night post on the railway, and it was made into a little film. It's a wonderful film, and I can't remember the name of the poem, but it's thing.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I like
Night Mail, Ian.
Yeah, Nightmare Asset.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah.
I know it's connected with Iron Maiden, but I do like the poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I always have. I love that poem. Yeah, I used to do it. We used to do it at school, but my teachers said to my parents, "He says, I think your son's more influenced by Jim Morrison and Peter Gabriel." And my dad said, "And what's wrong with that?" He said, because my English teacher was a big Genesis fan, so he knew how I was writing. He knew that it was coming straight. Something he said to me once. He says, "Are you sure you're not copying this off any of Peter Gabriel's lyrics?" I was, "Well, there's a bit of overtones in there, sir, but he says you're writing something about nothing."
Oh, a bit harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, he said it's great. He said, it's obviously you're influenced by, Jim Morrison and Peter Gabriel.
I mean, the school I went to, the music teacher didn't consider the guitar to be a proper musical instrument.
Well, my music teacher wore loafers, and my English teacher, and you could imagine him going to a Genesis concert with his LPs tucked under his arms, that sort of guy. He was, you could tell he was a Genesis fan.
I remember my music teacher, in France, usually once a year, they allow the students to bring one record, like to play like their favorite music. And like we were like probably like 13, 12 or 13, and 13, 14, and everyone was like bringing like Guns N' Roses and all that. And I remember bringing Einstürzen and Neubauten. Like I had like my safe option was Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, but still like and I remember just the teacher who probably like couldn't stand that, but like just because he had enough of all the Guns N' Roses like stuff, he went all in on Einstürzen and Neubauten and faked being really into that in front of the whole classroom. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I had a teacher when we used to do music lessons. Instead of singing things like Frere Jacques in a round, we would sing "I Get Around." We'd sing pop songs. It was a great. I loved music because we did all the thing, but when we wanted to do something like rounds and that, you got singing "I Get Around." He says, "This is a perfect example of how to sing a good round, and it's called I Get Around." And he talked to us about the harmonies of the Beach Boys.
Oh, that's cool.
You don't get that, do you?
No. I mean, sort of say my music teacher, his sort of job seemed to be to take all the fun out of music. Just absolutely dire, it wasn't, it wasn't about enjoying. It was something you had to be serious about, and he used to talk about serious music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yes, serious music, which is basically anything sort of classical.
I was gonna say,
yeah, we had a teacher. He'd bring his guitar in, and we'd sing pop songs and folk songs, and I remember him coming in and he did "Sundown" by Gordon Lightfoot, and you don't expect this at school, do you? No, it was terrific. Anyway, for those that have not been done this, we've got a little tradition on this stream to make a thumbnail. And what we do, we hold up an album that we've shown, or we just want to show something. So it's that time of night that the regulars do know. I'm just thinking, what can I hold up? I'm not going to hold up Marillion, put it that way.
In short, we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is how we wrap it up.
Yeah.
What can we put up? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Let's go that one today.
Right. I know. Not 84, but
I've gone with the Art of Noise tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, Art of Noise is great.
Yeah.
Oh, not
Three, two,
one.
Thank you very much. Well, this has been a super stream tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to say thank you to the one and only Stunty for coming up. He's a legend in the VC.
Come on. Stop it.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here tonight. We've really enjoyed your company. And
I don't think we do, Ian, because if you kept at it for 25 more minutes, then we could celebrate my birthday together, and you didn't even take the chance.
Oh,
well, Stunty, maybe we can, because I would like to ask one more thing. I just posted in the peanut gallery over here. There's an event in London in May called the Independent Label Market. Is anyone going there from any of you UK guys?
Don't know anything about it. So whereabouts in London is it?
Well, you were talking about the St. Pancras station. It's just next door in the Coal Drops Yard.
Oh, it's in Coal Drops. Coal Drops is a lovely place. It's really nice.
It's an event they do every, I think, 2 times a year or once a year, but with the pandemic.
Like the Groovy Fair? Is it the Groovy Fair?
It's like all independent labels who have stalls there and sell their promos or advanced copies of upcoming releases. Yeah. So I think I've never been there, but it seems very interesting.
Because it's pretty soon, I think, Johnny Trunk, who runs Trunk Records, he has, I think it's connected to the Spitterfall Markets. He has this thing called the Groovy Fair, which they always advertise it as the 40 best vintage male clothing dealers of the UK, plus records. And there's good record dealers there. So it might be this.
No, but this is something that is that's been going on for. They actually did it in Paris once, the independent label market, and it's. I just I just dropped the link, and it's really very interesting labels from all sorts of genres. So I think of going there for the first time.
Yeah. The problem is I'm only interested in music from 1984, which is why I only came now. So.
It's been lovely having you.
No, Stunty, it's not an excuse. There will be reissue labels there, so you can buy for reissues. So shut up and come over.
Anyway, it's lovely to meet you, Fred. Having you up here, it's like we've known you for years.
My pleasure.
Great. I love Belgium. I love Brussels. I always get drunk there, and so does Dave. And we enjoy.
Oh, but they don't love you there, Ian. Just because of that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. I'm apolitical. So.
Thank you for everyone, and there's been some lovely people came in the gallery tonight. We've had people from South Africa. We've had from all over the world. This has been a worldwide stream tonight. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stone. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Likewise. Bye, Dave.
Yeah. Speak to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.